Well, good morning. It's cold, but it's warming up, and it's going to be better. It's going to be better. I want to thank everybody. It's good to be back this week. I want to thank Josh for taking care of us and taking care of you guys last week, and thanks to everybody for all of your support through the wedding of Taylor and Zach throughout Christmas, and all of your help and kind words, encouragement, gifts. It goes on, and just wonderful. And so we're off to a brand new start. We're off to a brand new year. I have a brand new son-in-law, and they actually left yesterday for their honeymoon, and they've never driven through Atlanta, never gone down through, so I was really nervous. And so earlier this week, Pastor Troy called me and said, my car broke down on the way home from Florida, and I left it in Warner Robins, Georgia. What are you doing Saturday? And I was like, hey, I'm going to Warner Robins, Georgia. And so I'm calling her yesterday going, hey, everything's looking good. Not being a helicopter parent or anything. Not, no problem letting go here. Just happened to be in the area, just checking on you. So there we go. We got a brand new year. We got a brand new series. This is one that I have held on to for about 3 years. I've had this for a while, and got giants in the closet. It's called Choices. And here's the thing, as we look at this, and as we look at the question, what guides your life? What guides your life? What choices? We all have choices, and here's the thing. If there's a subtitle to this series, it is a question to guide our lives, because life is filled with choices. There's tons of decisions and that we make every day, and there's simple choices. Okay, we all have simple choices. Simple choices like, what time do I have to get up in the morning? Okay, I got to set an alarm, and you got to make a decision. What am I going to eat? Okay, some of you guys, it takes a long time. One of our family's places that we like to eat, and I always have for many years, is Cracker Barrel, and I've been eating at Cracker Barrel for 40 years. The menu hadn't changed a whole lot, but this happens every time we go. Hey, it's one of my little things that just kind of drives me crazy about my family. You have things that drive you crazy about your family. But we'll go, and the nice young person will come and say, are you all ready to order? And I'm like, yes, okay? I mean, I've been looking at this menu for 40 years. Uncle Herschel's still my uncle, okay? And Old Timer is still Old Timer, and the Sunrise Sampler is still the same, and I am ready to lock in. I have my decision made. I've got this menu memorized. And then my family will say, can we have a couple of minutes? And I'm like, oh gosh, choices. And so we don't want to make a wrong choice, right? If today is bacon day, we want to make sure it's bacon day, and it may be sausage, and we could be, kind of thrown off. And then we go through life, and there are questions that have bigger impacts on our lives. Okay? There are choices that we make that have big impacts. Michaela came to me this week, and she's a freshman at the high school, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but she came in my room and she said, Dad, Ms. Hale is telling us that we have to make a decision on what math class we take, and that's going to affect our lives for the rest of our life. It's going to affect college, and that college is going to affect the outcome of our lives. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And so young people, you guys, if you're in high school, you're getting there, okay? You're coming to that place where there are decisions that have to be made, and as you make those decisions, they're going to affect you for the rest of your life. What career will I have? Where am I going to go to college? Am I going to get married, or am I going to stay single? If I'm going to get married, who am I going to marry? I remember just a year ago, Taylor's like, I'm a senior in college. I really want to be married. I really want to be a mom someday. I really want to be a wife. I don't know who that's going to be, okay? And so when that person comes into our life, it's like, oh my gosh, is this the person? Is she the one? Is he the one? I don't know. All these financial decisions that we make in our lives. For those of you that have had to buy a home or had the opportunity to purchase a home, man, it's a big deal. They bring in like attorneys and stuff, and you have to sign like 1,000 documents, and it's like, holy cow, they're going to make me pay for this thing for the rest of my life, okay? It's big decisions, okay? It's big decisions. And so we make these decisions and we do these things, and it's like all these choices and all these things that I'm going to have to do. And here's the thing. This is my question for you this morning as we enter into this series. What guides your decision making? What guides that? I mean, I get it. There's some choices that are pretty simple, okay? And some are huge. And those big decisions, those life-altering decisions, those big things, what guides it? What is the guiding principle that helps you to make the decision that you have to make? And if you can't answer that right away, I hope you'll hang around. And I hope this really, really helps. Because here's the thing. All of us have our regrets. We all have regrets. All of us have regrets. All of us have our coulda, shoulda, woulda moments. All of us have those, well, if we all have those, if I'd have known then what I know now, this is what I would have done. Okay? You got those, right? I mean, I have them. I could, if I could go back and I could do these things. I mean, it's just one of those things. If we could just, if we could reverse the clock, if we could do these things. I told the story in 8:30. I'll shorten it this morning. But years ago, all my buddies that we all ran around with, we were kind of young and dumb and stupid and did lots of really stupid things. And these guys were trying to put a deer stand on the top of his tree. It was really heavy, and it weighed a lot, and it was made out of 4x8 sheets of plywood and 2x4s and 2x6s, and they were trying to get it up in this tree, and so they hung a pulley in the top of this hickory tree, and we hooked it to four-wheelers to pull it up in the tree. And, of course, you needed like 200 feet of rope, and, who's got 200 feet of rope? And somebody come back with some old ski rope. Sure, yeah, it's nylon, right? It's strong. And so they put it up there, and they hung it in, and we tied it to like 6 four-wheelers, and we're dragging this thing down the creek, and we're pulling this deer stand up in this tree, and it's going up, and it's going up, and it's going up, and all of a sudden that rope just pow, it snaps, and this deer stand comes down, it crashes and it hits and it falls all to pieces, and there it is. 2 weeks of hard work is in splinters on the ground. And we're all sitting there going, I knew this was going to happen. and the older brother, there's 2 brothers that I grew up with, and Jeff and Mark's up in the tree. He's the receiver, and he's up there looking down at all this shattered work, and he's all mad, and he's having a fit, and he's looking at his younger brother, Jeff, and he's standing on the ground, and he's like, why didn't you do this, and why didn't you do this, and why didn't you do this? And all of a sudden it gets kind of quiet. And Jeff, in his best redneck country voice, in the non-theologian words of Cher, looks at his brother and says, if I could turn back time. Which set off a fury of things that took place, and I've never seen a guy come down a tree so fast, but we all have those moments, okay? That we could just turn back time, we could go back in time, we could do something different, we could do it over again, give me a do-over, give me a mulligan, give me something, let me do this again. We all have it. We all have it. So what guides our decision making? How do we prevent that? This morning, we're going to explore a question. And this question is lifted from Scripture, okay? And I want to kind of point you in the direction here so that you kind of understand how this all came to me and how it comes to be. But back in the fall, we studied Paul, and I'm not going to go back and repeat the Paul story again. But here's the thing. Paul, after his conversion, began to plant churches all around the Mediterranean Rim in the ancient time 2,000 years ago. And then after that work had completed, or after he had planted many of those churches, he wrote letters of encouragement. He wrote letters of instruction. He helped encourage those people who were in those places by writing them letters. Here's the really cool thing about it. We have copies of those letters. I have copies of those letters here. Most of you are carrying copies of those letters, okay? You have the copies of those letters on your phone. Today's letter that we're going to look at is a letter called Ephesians. And Paul writes this letter to the church there and to the people, and it became very popular. And it wasn't only just read by them, but it was circulated and copied and shared with all the other churches. And it has fantastic Holy Spirit-inspired advice. Things that we can use to guide our lives and to help us, okay? Things that we can use to guide our life and to help us. And so here's the thing. When you look at the 5th chapter of Ephesians, and I was looking at this on my iPad under the Bible app, and it talks about living in the light. And because, see, here's the thing. When Paul is writing to these Christians, he's like, look, when you've accepted the relationship that Christ offers you, and you have become a Christian, then you are no longer walking in darkness. You are no longer children of darkness. You are now walking in the light. And so you need to change the way you live, okay? You need to have a guide in the way that you live. And so things should change in your life, and things should be different. And so this is how we live in the light. And the truth is, after we begin that walk with Christ, after we make that decision, then we should be in the light and use that in every decision that we make. Everything. So here's the thing. if you're not a Christian, okay, if you just came today and it's like, you know what, they've been inviting me to come to church, and I haven't been in a while, and this is the first Sunday of the new year, and I'm going to kick it off. I'm just going to start going to church. I am so glad you came. This is the perfect place for you to start. And this is the perfect series, because this is what I want you to listen to. Okay, this is what I want you to realize. You're in a great place, because I believe that what we share today for you will be very practical and very helpful. Okay? If you're not a Christian, okay, if you are not a Christian, if you've never accepted Christ, if you're just somebody who's just trying to get through life and you're looking for some good advice, this is good advice, okay? What I'm going to share with you today is really, really good advice. But listen to me. If you're a Christian, if you've said yes to the relationship that Christ offers, this is required of you. This is required of you. You have to do this. You're supposed to do this. Look, you were living in darkness. And now you're living in the light. And you've got to live that way. You can't treat people the way they treat you anymore. Okay? Because you have to treat people the way your Heavenly Father treated you. It's bigger than that. It's better than that. And that's required of you as a Christian. And so the thing of it is that living that way is countercultural to the world that we're living in. Guess what? It was countercultural to the way Paul's people were living as well. Not a lot has changed in 2,000 years. That's why this ancient letter, that's why these ancient words are just as practical. That's why these ancient words are just as applicable today as they were 2,000 years ago. Let's look at them. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15 says to us this: be very careful. How many of you have heard that? How many of you had parents, okay, or how many of you are parents who have said that to your kids, all right? Be careful, all right? If I had $1 for every time that my dad said to me, be careful, I'd be a millionaire, okay? All right? Because he said that to me a lot and still does, okay? It's what we do. It's the culture that we live in, okay? Whenever you go out the door, that's the last thing we say. David Combs shaking his head. Yeah, absolutely. Adam, hey, be careful, man. Be careful. Just be careful. It's wet out there. It's going to be slick. It might freeze tonight. Pay attention to the weather, son. Pay attention to where you're driving. Pay attention to what's on the road. Pay attention to your surroundings. That's what it means. Careful means to be aware of your surroundings. Here's where it becomes countercultural. Okay? We live in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Many of you guys were raised in church. So you expect your elders, you expect people who are around you to encourage you to pay attention to your surroundings and be careful. A few years ago, I was watching American Idol, okay? Just kind of scanning the band, and the kids are watching, and I'm watching, and it was when they were doing the auditions. And this guy come out, and he sang a song, and he didn't get the invitation to go on to Hollywood. He was from, I think he was from Kentucky, actually, and he was from this area. And so he got ready to leave the stage, and he thanked them, and he got ready to walk off, and they said, thank you, and he said, y'all be careful. And I think it was either Paul Abdul or Jennifer Lopez attacked him. She said, what? What did you say? He said, I said, be careful. And she said, are you attacking me? Are you threatening me? Is that a threat? And he's like, no, ma'am. Just want you to be careful. It's what we say. And I mean, she was getting ready to call security. And he's like, no. It's what we do. But that's where it becomes countercultural. And this is the way she heard it. What are you saying to me? Are you trying to incur that you have a better plan for me, that you're going to do something to me, that you're going to tell me a way to live my life, that there's going to be some other... It's countercultural. Okay, it's counterculture. You're not going to tell me how to do things. Okay, you don't tell me to be careful. Okay, I'm living my life. And so when we say that to somebody, we get really, and that can happen to the teenagers too. Teenagers, you don't have to respond. But how many times that mom or dad has said, be careful, and in your mind you've said, be careful, be careful, okay? All right, it's okay. It's all right. You've done it. I know. I'll be careful. I'll be careful. Yeah, you be careful. Okay, I know it. I know how that is. All right? Where in our culture is that, you see? Where in our culture is an encouragement to be careful, to make wise choices, to make good, informed decisions? Where do we find that? You see, the word live here, be careful then how you live, okay? It's also translated walk. In your walk in life, be careful, Okay, and this is what he says. And here's the big part of this that we're going to camp out. We're just going to kind of unravel this over 6 weeks. And it's like, how in the world can you do this over 2 words? But trust me, just hang with us. Not as unwise, but as wise. Not as unwise, but as wise. Paul equates wise as careful. Okay? Be careful how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise. He equates careful and unwise, okay, as careless. Careful is wise, and unwise is careless. All right? Unwise is careless. So careless is doing, listen to me, okay? Careless is doing whatever with whoever, whenever, and not worrying about the consequences. Okay? You know anybody like that? This is one of those sermons that's like, oh man, I wish they were here. Okay, that's all right. Okay? Just hang on. Okay, that's what it is. Careless living is doing whatever with whomever, whenever, and not caring about the consequences. Careful is being wise. Thinking thinking about where you're going, looking back at where you've been. Okay? And this is what Paul's saying. Look, he said, I want to redeem your time. I want to redeem your time. Your most precious asset that you have is your time. And here's the way that you should live your life. You should be careful. You should be careful. You should look all around. You should be wise and not unwise. And then he goes on, verse 16. Making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. What does he mean by that? The days are evil. That's what Paul is saying to his Ephesian friends, okay? And this is what he's saying to us because nothing's changed in 2,000 years. This is what he's saying. When we discover that this idea is now timeless, because here's the thing, this is what he's saying. If you live your life rolling with the flow, if you live your life just the way culture is going, well, that's what everybody kind of does now. That's what the kids are doing now. That's the way life is. It's just the world we live in. It's just things have changed. And now the kids are doing this. And now this is what people do. And this is where we are. He's like, be careful. Be careful how you live your lives. Be careful how you live your lives because the days are evil. If you just live your life going with culture and just rolling with the flow, you could very well end up in a place that you do not want to be. You can end up in a place that you do not want to be. If you just go with culture financially, hey, everybody else is doing it. You know, it's just credit cards. We'll pay them off sometime. Yeah, it'd be all right. Then you'll wind up in a place that financially that you don't want to be. If you just go with the culture relationally, hey, this is how everybody else does it. You know, it's just, you know, it's a hookup culture. It's a hookup culture. That's where we are now. It's kind of where we are relationally. Then you're going to wind up in a relationship that you don't want to be in. Paul is saying, look, listen. He's saying, listen, be aware of culture. Be aware and be careful in how you live. Popular culture always has its currents that steer you into ways of living, and those things that popular culture will do will steer you to unwise choices. And he's saying, look, I want you to make the most out of every opportunity. And then he zeroes in and he says something specifically to Christians, and this is verse 17. This is where he focuses in. He says, therefore then, do not be foolish. Do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Okay, you're Christians. You're here. You said yes to a relationship with Jesus. The Holy Spirit lives in you. You know. Okay? You know. You know He has a plan for your life. You know He has instructions for living. You know what He expects of you. You know. You know this. Okay? It's a little bit convicting because we always look for loopholes because we're human. I know I shouldn't. Why do you say that? I know that I shouldn't do this, but, come on. You know you shouldn't do it because you know what His will is. You know what His law is. That's why you made the statement. That's what's in your head. But you're always looking for loopholes. And so I know that I shouldn't, but I know I don't have to. And we all look for those excuses. And Paul says, look, don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. Come on, you know. You know what you're supposed to do. You know where this is going. You know where this is leading. Be wise. He's saying be wise. Don't be foolish. It trips us up. It pulls us out. Don't pretend like you don't understand. You say, well, everybody else is. I don't care if everybody else. He says, don't be foolish. You know what the Lord's will is. You know what the Lord's. But it's legal. I'm 21. Yeah, that's why I don't care. I don't care if it's illegal. Is it right? Doesn't make it right if it's legal. Somebody else decided it was legal. What's illegal yesterday is legal today. Look at our country. Don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. Don't pretend like you don't understand. Don't pretend like you don't know. Paul is saying, look, you know what the Lord's will is. You know what he's saying regarding this issue. You know what this is. Quit talking yourself into things that you should be talking yourself out of. Okay? Quit talking yourself out of things that you should be talking yourself into. Don't be foolish. Paul says simply, understand what God's will is for you and just do it. We're just to live as wise and not unwise. It is the litmus test is not what everybody else is doing. Guys, teenagers, you've heard this. Kids, you've said, parents, you've done this. If everybody else jumps off a cliff, are you going to jump off a cliff too? No. Okay? But everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's going to the movies tonight. Everybody's going to see that movie. Everybody does this. Okay? Yeah, I wouldn't jump in the lake if everybody else jumped in the lake, but I want that because everybody else does. You see? It sucks us in. It sucks us in. It's not the litmus test, what everybody else is doing. The test is not even what's legal. Okay? It's not even what's legal. The question is, what is the wise thing for me to do? What is the wise thing for me to do? What is the wise choice for me to make? And that's the question. What is the wise choice that I should make? That's what lifts from that passage. Paul says, live as wise and not unwise. So when you read that advice, take it to heart. That's what I'm trying to get through your head, okay? That's what I'm trying to help you with, because this is huge. It's huge. You can't just read that and say, okay, live as wise, I'll be wise. It's bigger than that, okay? It's more than that. You have to weigh that against every decision that you make. What is the wise choice that I should make? Here's the deal. You're pretty smart. I know you, okay? And I know me. And the easiest person for you to deceive is you. All right? The easiest person for you to deceive is you. The easiest person for you to get into trouble is you. And almost no one ever comes to living with the results. Okay? Nobody gets to a place in life that is a result of a bad decision and say, man, I don't know how I got here. My very first church, my very first year of pastoring, this lovely little lady, her name was Miss Edith. I came to Miss Edith. She looked at me and she said, would you go visit my grandson? I said, yeah, I'll be glad to go visit your grandson. Let me know where he's at. She said, well, it's a little complicated. I'll get back to you next week. I need your Social Security number. This sounds kind of weird. Okay? The reason she needed my Social Security number, my address, is because her grandson was in prison. Okay? And she wanted me to go to Eddyville to find him. All right? We drove down there. I drove down there with my only deacon. We knocked on the front door of the Eddyville State Penitentiary on the banks of Kentucky Lake, asked for this guy's name, and he wasn't home. I was like, this really sounds bizarre. Did you lose him? You don't know where he's at? He's at another place. So we go to the other prison. We go in, we sit down, and I sat down across a table from this young man. And listen, he didn't look me in the eyes and say, man, I don't know how I got here. Instead, he looked me in the eye, and he said, I know I killed him. He committed murder. I'm sitting at a picnic table having a Coke with a convicted murderer. And he didn't look me in the eye and say, I don't know how I wound up here. He said, but this is what I know. He said, I don't remember it. I don't remember it because I made bad decision after bad choice after bad choice after bad choice. And I was so high and I was so messed up and I was so blind and I I guess I did it, but I don't remember it. And this is what happens, folks. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And then all of a sudden, we make a really bad decision that is so wrong, and it affects us for the rest of our lives. And nobody that's been in those shoes, nobody that's been in that place, ever looks at you and goes, I don't know how, I have any idea how this happened to me. They know exactly how it happened to them. They can point to you bad decision after bad decision. And here's something else about an unwise decision. It may not be necessarily an unwise decision for everyone. You say, well, wait a minute, that's not fair. Sorry, life's not fair. Okay? Life's not fair. I'm not fair when it comes to that, okay? I can't help it. But that's the truth, okay? Because sometimes when you make an unwise decision, it's unwise for your situation. And you know you, I don't know you. You know you better than I know. And here's the thing, it may be legal, okay? Everybody else may be doing it. It may be common. But for you, it is a very unwise decision according to the circumstances for you. And this is why we look at this question. What is the wise choice that I should make? We look at it in 3 dimensions, okay? Because in the first dimension that we look at it, number 1 is this. According to and in light of my past experiences, what is the wise thing for me to do? Here's the thing. I don't know your past. Your past is not my past. And my past is not your past. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? Don't get me wrong. Hold with me. What happened the last time you went there? Okay? What happened the last time you went there? What happened the last time you texted her back? Okay? What happened the last time you texted him back? You know what you did. You know what happened. Okay? All right? People text me all the time and I text them back. It's not unwise for me to text somebody back. But for you, there may be someone that you need to delete it. There may be someone that you need to call an accountability partner and say, I have a problem. I need help. Okay? For you to do something may be very unwise based on and in light of your past experience. Okay? You just got your 1-year chip. You don't need to go there. Okay? You don't need to be in there. Okay? Somebody else in this room may have went there last week and handed out Gideon Bibles. They can go back this week. Okay? It's okay for them. It may not be so unwise for them to be in that building. But for you, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You know you. You know who you are. You know what your past is. You know what past experiences you've had. Your past is not your past, and my past is not your past. In light of your past experiences. You know, here's the thing. You know why history keeps repeating itself for you? Maybe it's financially. Okay? Some of you guys deal with this all the time. When your past begins repeating itself for you relationally and financially, it's because you don't ask this question. It's because you don't ask the question. You think, well, you know what? This is what you think. This is what you trip yourself up into. This is what you convince yourself of. I can do the same thing this time and I'll get different results. No, you won't. Okay? I've been teaching this stuff for years. Okay? Some of you guys have been teaching this stuff for years. You've told it to your kids for years. Okay? You keep on doing what you've always done, you'll keep on getting what you always got. It doesn't change. Okay? So don't listen to that lie. Don't listen to that lie. Because if you don't ask this question, what is the wise thing for me to do? Based on my past experience, we believe that we can manage outcomes. This time, I'm stronger. I can handle it. I'm stronger now. Okay? I'm stronger now. Have you ever heard that? I'm stronger now. I can do this. Okay? I can do this. I can go there. I can be there. I can see her. I can see him. And I'm strong enough. Okay? I can say no. When the time comes, when the moment comes, when it gets down to that decision point, when it gets down to that choice, I'll make the right choice. Are you sure about that? I don't think so. Okay? If you haven't changed if you haven't changed how you live, if you haven't asked yourself that question, see, in light of your past experience, not what's legal, okay? I don't care if it's legal, okay? It's bigger than that. It's better than that. I don't even care if everybody else does it. If it's not right for you, if it's unwise for you based on your past experience, you've been there before, you've done that before, you've been down that road. You see, we like things cloudy. We like things murky because we can make excuses and we can talk ourselves into something and we can talk ourselves out of something. But when we ask ourselves this question in light of my past experience, when you're at that place making that choice, I'm going to go there, they want me to go, the guys want me to go with me, the girls want me to go with them. Last time we went, it didn't work out too good. What's the wise thing for me to do? All of a sudden it comes clear, doesn't it? When you stop in the moment of that choice, When you stop in that decision moment and you ask yourself the question, based on my past experience, what is the wise thing for me to do? All of a sudden, it becomes clear. The second thing is this. Based on my current circumstances, you just got married, okay? You just got married. You just had a new baby, okay? You just started a new job, all right? You know, your grades aren't so good in that class, and the ball game is tonight, and I really want to go to the ball game, but tomorrow's a test, and if I go to the game, I can't study. And based on my current circumstances, what's the wise choice that I should make? Ain't nothing wrong with going to a basketball game. There'll be a lot of folks there, but maybe you don't need to be. Maybe you need to be studying, okay? What is it? I love, I want the new Mustang, okay? But baby diapers and bottles are expensive. They're not cheap, okay? And we just had a new baby, all right? Maybe now is not, maybe, and based on my current circumstances, maybe that's not so wise, is it? You see, we do things on impulse. We do things because we're selfish. And if we'll just stop and ask the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? Based on my current circumstances, in light of my current vulnerability, in light of where I am right now. I'm a brand new freshman in a brand new college, and it's my first week away from home, and I just got invited to go to a party. I'm pretty vulnerable. Based on my current circumstances, what's the wise thing that I need to do right now? Because I could make a decision that's going to really, really mess me up. You see, the question's powerful, and when we ask the question, it becomes very, very clear. You see, it's not right or wrong. It's not illegal or legal. It's not what everybody else is doing. It's in this current season of life. In this current season of life. My girls grew up so fast, and I came to a place where I used to spend a lot of time in a duck blind. I used to spend a lot of time in a tree. And there came a place in my life, in my current circumstances, I had to ask myself the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? And God kindly, gently reminded me, son, there's going to be time that you can spend the rest of your life sitting in a hole in the ground looking at the sky if you want to. But you're little. And the third and final thing is this, and we're going to try to bring this down. In light and in regards to my future hopes and dreams. Listen, I hope you have hope. I hope you have dreams. I hope you have vision for your life. If you're a Christ follower, then He's given you vision for your life. He's given a plan for your life. There's things that you should want and you want to aspire to. But listen, this is really for young people, okay? Hang on to this. What a tragedy. What a tragedy to trade in tomorrow for something that I will not own tomorrow. Life changes, folks. Listen. I reminded, because there's nothing wrong with having friends in every aspect of your relationships everywhere you are, but I reminded Michaela of this last week. I said, I want you to look around. I want you to look around at all the friends that are surrounding your sister. I said, where were those friends 6 years ago when she was in high school? She said, well, she didn't know any of those people. I said, exactly. Just look at that. I said, she didn't know her husband either. She didn't know any of those people. 35 of them. They were here from Turkey, Saudi Arabia, people, international students, people that she's ministered to and worked with. She didn't know any of those kids. Okay? Life changes. Life changes. About 9 years ago, we were pulling out of the driveway of my grandmother's house at Christmas. But I didn't know it would be the last Christmas that all of us would be together in that house. I didn't know that at the moment. But we pulled out to the end of the driveway. Both of my girls are in the back seat of the van. And I stopped the van and I looked at Sandy. I said, I wish I could freeze time. She said, why? I said, because everybody was here. Everybody was together. Everybody was happy. And I said, it won't always be like this. It doesn't go on like this forever. Life changes. My aunt died the next year. My grandmother got Alzheimer's and went to the nursing home the next year. I said, listen, honey, I know this sounds kind of weird to you. I said, but if God blesses us with as many Christmases ahead as He has in the past, we'll spend the rest of our Christmases with people that we haven't even met yet. She said, what are you talking about? I said, Taylor's going to marry somebody. We don't know that kid. We don't even know what his name is 8 years ago. Michaela's going to marry somebody. We still don't know who that guy's going to be. Okay? We're going to have grandkids, I hope, someday. I pray that we have grandchildren. I don't know who those little cats are going to be. I don't know what their names are going to look like. I don't know what they're going to look like, but that's who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And I haven't even met them yet. It's a tragedy to trade in your future for people that you don't even know yet, okay? People that are not going to be there. When you're young and you're in high school and you're making those decisions, okay? Hang on to that. Because I know you. And some of you run around with people. Some of you run around with teenagers. I see it every day. They run around with people who don't have future hopes and dreams. They don't have future hopes and dreams. They live for the present. They live for the future. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we'll die. Okay? That's the mantra. When's the next trip? When's the next concert? When's the next fun thing we're going to do? Listen, the worst thing that you can do, is let someone around you rob you of your future. Because you have a vision for your life. And why in the world would you trade in your future for someone that is not going to be a part of your future? Hold on to that. In light of your future hopes and dreams. In light of where you want to be someday. The question for you is because you're unique, okay? You're unique and your hopes and your dreams are unique. And do you want your future to be secure? Do you want your future to be secure? That is often determined by the wise choices that you make today. All right? Some of us make bad decisions. Some of us make dumb decisions. Okay? And when that happens, we have to be corrected. We have to be shepherded. We have to be moved and molded. When I looked on Facebook this summer and I saw Michaela swinging on a grapevine and jumping into the Green River, I was like, holy cow. Where did that happen? I didn't know she was there. And she came home and I was like, where you been? You're soaking wet. Oh, you been swimming? You've been swimming. That's awesome. Where you been swimming? In the Green River. Am I in trouble? Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know. Are you going to take away my phone? No. Am I grounded? No. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell your grandfather. Because he can tell you stories about the Green River for the rest of your life. Okay? There are catfish there as the size of Cadillacs. There are undercurrents that will suck you down and blow you up somewhere in New Orleans, okay? You got to be careful around the green. Don't mess up your future making a careless, quick decision. Be careful. What is your vision? What does God want for your future? You see, making decisions today based on the future is the wise thing for you to do. And here's the thing. You put it all together, and it's this. You put it all together in light of my past experiences, in light of my current circumstances, and in regards to my future hopes and dreams. What is the wise choice that I should make every time? And here's something that I know. People just don't plan to mess up their lives. People just don't plan to mess up. I've never met anybody that said, you know what, I set out with a specific plan to really mess up my life. No, that's not what they do. They just do not plan not to. They fail to plan not to. They don't have a question that guides their lives. They don't have something scriptural and biblical that they hold on to. Then when it's time to make that decision, that they ask themselves, in light of my past experiences, in light of my current circumstances, and in regards to my future hopes and dreams, what now is the wise choice that I should make? You see, I've never met anybody, okay? And just hang with me here. I have never met anybody who got married that after the wedding shook my hand and said, thanks. I'm going to see what I can figure out in this one, so I hope I get the next one right. Okay? I've never had that conversation. I have never had a conversation with anybody at a wedding who came to me and said, you know, I don't really know how this one's going to go, but I'm hoping I get enough experience in this so the second one will go better. Nobody goes into it like that. Nobody does. That could have been you. Okay? I don't know if that's you or not. It's okay. God forgives and we move on and things are okay, but nobody got married the first time looking for the second one. Nobody did that. Nobody went into life and nobody came through and said, you know what? We're going to try to go bankrupt so that we can figure out how you get that way so that we can correct it the next time. Okay? I've never met anybody that said, yeah, we lost everything, but we did it intentionally. Okay? We intentionally lost it all just so we could see how it felt. And so it would feel better the next time. Nobody does that. You just make bad decisions after bad decisions after bad decisions, and there you are. No one plans to wreck and ruin and mess up their life. They just don't plan not to. They just don't plan not to. So in light of our past experiences, our current circumstances, and our future hopes and dreams, what is the wise thing for us to do? Here's your homework. This is what I want you to do this week. Here's my challenge. Just ask the question. Okay? Just ask the question. Hey, listen. You don't even have to do it. Okay? Go ahead and make the decision you were going to make anyway, but just ask the question. You say, I hear you. I know what you're up to. I know what you're up to. Because what happens is, when we ask the question, then we find out. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want you to just find out what you would do if you were wise. What would you do if you were to make a wise choice? Because see, if you're a Jesus follower, I know what you're thinking. If I ask that question, He's going to tell me. If you've got Christ in your heart, if you've got the Holy Spirit inside you, and you say, in light of my past experiences and my current circumstances and my future hopes and dreams, what is the wise thing for me to do here, Lord? He's going to tell you, isn't He? He's going to tell you. Listen, it's hard. It's hard to ask the question because I've been in those situations. I've been in marriages that are falling apart, and I'm trying to get them to come to counseling, and this is what I hear from one side of I got somebody that's standing at my doorstep going, I want to come, I want to come, I want to come, and I'm like, well, will she come? Will he come? And this is what I was told one time. I said, why won't she go? Why won't she come? And he said, I'm just going to tell you. This is what she said. I am not going to come, and I'm not going to listen to someone tell me that what I'm going to do is wrong. We're going to talk about that next week. Okay. Solomon talks about that in Proverbs. But that's what happens, folks. When we ask the question, and God tells us this is the wise thing for you to do, and we say, I'm going to do what I want to do. I do what I want. You've heard that? I do what I want. Okay? When we get that attitude and we start going down that road, all right, it won't work out. It won't work out. Teenagers, young folks, I want you to ask this question as well. Okay? Whatever it is. You know, you're dealing with schoolwork, brand new semester, maybe grades. We had quite a few students who failed a lot of classes at Ohio County High School last semester. We'd like to see that a little better next time. Okay? So some of you guys may need to work a little harder. So when the ball game's coming or Netflix has got a new series and we're trying to binge it all down and trying to get it all in, we're watching TV for 25 hours in a row and there's only 24 hours in a day, all right? Ask the question. Ask the question. In light of my current circumstances, in light of what Infinite Campus says on my phone, what is the wise choice for me to make? And here's something I want to warn you of, okay? Don't panic. The answer that you receive could sound eerily familiar to what your parents are telling you, okay? Do not be alarmed, okay? And do not panic. Just ask the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? Employers, you got people that work for you? You got people that work under you? Ask the question, okay? You're getting ready to make a choice. Things didn't go well at home last night. You're kind of tired, but it doesn't matter. In light of my current circumstances, what is the wise choice for me to make in this meeting? What is the wise choice for me to make in this conversation? What is the wise choice that I need to do right now? Listen, husbands, husbands, what is the wise thing for me to do? And listen, do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed if the answer sounds very familiar to what your wife has already told you. Okay? Do not be afraid. Do not panic. Wives, listen. Ask the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? And ladies, listen. Don't be surprised, okay? If the answer that you get back is something similar to what your husband has already been telling you, that is a miracle. All right? That is a miracle because we don't really clue in that quick. But I'm just teasing, okay? This is where we land, okay? This is where we close. If something in you resists this, if something in you pushes back, if something in you says, I do what I want, I do what I want, I don't want anybody, I am not going to come and listen to somebody tell me, I'm mad. This guy's made me mad. I'm not coming back next week. Okay? If something in you pushes back against this, this is what I know about you. This is what I'm glad you came because you've learned something about yourself. You don't have your best interest in mind. You don't have your best if you say, in light of my past experiences, in light of my current situation and my future hopes and dreams, what is the wise choice for me to make? I know what it is, but I am not going to do it. I am going to do what I want. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. You don't have your best interest in mind. Okay? But I have some really, really, really good news for you today. There is a God in heaven. There is a God in heaven who created the world. He created you. And He loves you unconditionally. He made a way for you to be forgiven of whatever sin it is, whatever you're pushing back against. And here's something that I know about Him. He has your best interest at heart in every decision. Know that. Know that. When you ask the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? He has your best interest in mind. And if you don't have your best interest in mind, one day you're going to wake up someplace in some situation that you never wanted to be. Don't be there. Okay? You never plan to make dumb decisions. You just plan not to. Okay? You just fail to plan not to. And the question is simply this. What's guiding you? What's guiding you? In light of my past experience, in light of my current circumstances, in regards to my future, my hopes, my dreams, my vision, what's the wise thing for me to do? The wise thing for you to do today is to seek Him in a relationship with Christ. Let me pray for you. Lord, we come before you this morning. We thank you for this powerful, ancient text. We thank you for inspiring Paul over 2,000 years ago to write it down, to tell us to be careful how we live, not as unwise, but as wise, to make decisions according to us, seeking your will, because your will for our lives is individual. So it's based on my past. It's based on where I am right now. It's based on where you're taking me in the future. So help us to ask the question, what's the wise thing to do? What's the wise thing to do? Father, you know where we are right now. You know where we are in our hearts. You know what decisions we need to make. You know if there's someone here, Father, that's really pushing back against this and we just resist this. We know, but we just want to do, we do. Father, help us to just surrender to you. And Father, for all of us, help us to ask it. Help us to use this wisdom to guide our choices in life. Help us now to respond to you and reflect on what you've shared with us. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Please stand.